The Texans were defeated by the Philadelphia Eagles 32-30. Nick Foles. The Eagles drove down the field late in the game to kick a game-winning field goal. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and be pissed at the Texans. I'm not. Because they went out there and, they played hard. They played, or, some players. They played hard. They kept the game really, really, really close. And this is despite their 3 starting corners going down. Kareem, J.J. came back. Kayvon Webster stays hurt, but he got hurt again. So technically you could count him on there. So 3 other DBs went down, and they missed significant time. DeAndre Hopkins was already playing in one leg. Demaryius Thomas went down. I mean, Lamar Miller was already out too. You can't blame them, I guess. They could have played better, defensively especially, but they did some good things with what they were given, offensively mostly, but this sucks, man. I'm not mad, I'm just, I guess, kind of heartbroken. It's one of those heartbreaking losses, I guess you could say. I mean, this team can still make the playoffs. Don't get me wrong. They just got to take care of business versus Jacksonville next week and win the division. I don't see the Texans losing next week. I don't. They're a better team than Jacksonville. But they can't overlook them. The Texans, they lost their chance at a first-round bye. It sucks. It's happened before, but the Texans didn't choke today. They didn't. They just lost. They just lost to a good team. And, it happens. It's important to move on from this. They gotta, flip the page. Focus on Jacksonville because nothing's guaranteed right now. Because if you lose to Jacksonville, you could possibly be out of the playoffs. So they have to win. It's a must-win game. There ain't no resting anybody. Oh, rest this guy. Oh, rest that guy. No. I've seen people say, we should rest Watson, we should rest Hopkins, we should rest this guy, we should rest that guy. No. This game against Jacksonville is technically a playoff game. Win and you're in. Lose, and you go home most likely. I don't see the Steelers losing to the Saints today. I don't see the Steelers dropping another game. I don't see the Ravens dropping a game. The Colts, they're going to beat the Titans. They're going to be in the playoffs. This is a must-win game for the Texans. They have to go out and win it. There is no excuse for them losing. And, yeah. But enough about next week. Let's, talk about this week. Let's start off with Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson is Deshaun Watson. The guy is, you guys have heard the phrase billions of times, but it's true. Deshaun Watson is Michael Jordan. When we were down by 13, man, it looked like it was over. We were going to get blown out. The game was over. But Deshaun took over the game. He put us in position to win the game. And we've never had that in the past. In the past, after the Demaryius Thomas injury, the team would have just folded and quit. They would have gotten blown out, embarrassed, but that didn't happen today. That just kind of speaks volumes of what a great quarterback Deshaun Watson is. I mean, and he's still learning. He made some mistakes out there. Mostly not sensing the pressure on the fumble. But, he's learning. He's going to get better. If you thought Deshaun Watson was good today, well, he's only going to get better. So, yeah. O-line. Again, for the third or fourth straight week in a row, they couldn't get a run game going. They have to get something going, man. At this point, it's the offensive line. It has to be what is the one consistent that has been around these past 4 weeks in the run game? The O-line. They did bench Calamity for not that important. Calamity for ranking today, but that didn't make much of a difference. O-line pass blocking wise, they were doing a pretty decent job, I'd say. Pass blocking, there was some plays like obviously where they allowed sacks, and then other times Deshaun took a couple sacks as well. But nonetheless, as good as the Eagles front seven is, or their defensive line is, I still thought they held up pretty well. Receivers again, D-Hop with one leg, he was good. Carter, he was okay. The tight ends were pretty good too. Running backs, Foreman caught a few good passes there late in the game to kind of give us points. Offensively, I thought they played well. And if you're going to blame Bill O'Brien for this loss, get the hell out of here, because O'Brien is not to blame for this loss. If you're blaming O'Brien for this loss, you need to reevaluate what you're doing with your life, because obviously you don't know football. Because Bill O'Brien called a hell of a game. Yeah, some people are probably going to be like, well, man, after the McKinney interception, he went conservative. Oh, I mean, DeAndre Carter went out of bounds after a 1 yard gain on a pass play. If DeAndre Carter goes inside, he gets like 6 yards. But no, he just goes right out of bounds for no particular reason. Next play, a run. You got to keep running the ball because this offensive line, I've said it before, they're not capable of holding up a bunch of times a game. And today we had to pass the ball a lot. And then on third and 11, I want to say, something like that, it was a screen pass that gained like 8 yards. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of the screen pass call, but come on. If Carter does his job, if the O-line does their job blocking, then, you know, you probably score a field goal or something in that drive. So, yeah. This is not O'Brien's fault. Again, if anyone wants to blame O'Brien, you can go watch basketball or go watch lame-ass baseball. But, yeah. Anyways, defense. Big yikes, dude. Clowney. You know Clowney, the guy that everybody loves to hate. The people that don't know football hate Clowney for whatever reason. They hate Clowney. Clowney was the only guy that showed up today on defense. Everyone else was pretty much non-existent. Yeah, you could say McKinney got the pick. There was that fumble recovery. But nobody else showed up, if we're being honest. Nobody showed up. Just Clowney. What? Where was you? Merciless? Didn't hear about him. Dylan Cole had a terrible game. Justin Reed? He looked like a rookie out there. Tyrann Mathieu? He got burnt for a touchdown. 83-yard touchdown? Everyone had a terrible game on defense. Besides Jadeveon Clowney, the guy that everybody hates. He's the only guy that showed up on defense. The defense gave up 500 plus yards, 32 points. But people want to blame Bill O'Brien. No, you don't blame Bill O'Brien for this. The defense, they couldn't tackle today at all. At all. They couldn't do anything. They couldn't cover. Blown coverages everywhere. People wide open. They couldn't cover Zach Ertz. They couldn't cover Darren Sproles out of the backfield. And, give credit to the Eagles. They did their thing. They just did their thing. They did whatever the hell they want on these Texans. You don't blame Bill O'Brien for this loss. You blame Romeo Crennel. I mean, seriously. 500 yards. 32 points. You had a chance to win the game late. All you had to do was stop them once. You allow huge plays, 2 big plays. One to Alshon Jeffrey on 3rd and 10 inside the 10. And then the other one to Zach Ertz. Even though Tyrann Mathieu got tripped up, you can't really blame him for that. But still, though, man, you got to put your players in position to succeed. This loss, 100% on Romeo Crennel. And yes, I understand Joseph was out a good amount of time. Kareem Jackson was out. And Kayvon Webster was out. But I don't care. That's not an excuse. That is not an excuse. If it was just today, fine. I'll let it slide because his players were hurt. But no. This has not been a one-at-a-time thing. This has been a trend since, like, I'd even say since week 11. Out of the bye week, what happens? What happens? Colt McCoy tears his defense up. The week after that, Mariota passes for 300 yards. Yeah, Marcus Mariota passed for 300 yards on his defense. As bad as he is, he should not be passing for 300 yards on any defense. But he did it against our defense. The week after that, Baker Mayfield, he's a good rookie. He's a good quarterback. He's going to be a great player. Don't get me wrong. But he shredded his defense despite us getting 3 picks. Andrew Luck, we already knew he was going to shred his defense. He shredded his defense. Sam Darnold, one of the worst quarterbacks in the league this year, he shredded his defense. Nick Foles, he just continued the trend. Nothing changed. Nothing changed. Injuries or no injuries, this secondary is garbage, or these corners are garbage. Tyrann Mathieu had to play nickel corner. That is not a position he's been really asked to play much this year. He's mostly been playing deep safety. So you can't really blame him for allowing that huge touchdown, even though it was his responsibility. It's kind of hard to put a blame on a guy that's not really playing there much. I know he used to play there in Arizona from time to time, but here he's been playing more safety. This is just on Crennel, man. And I hate to say it because Romeo Crennel is a legendary defensive coordinator, one of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest of all time, but it's time for him to go. I mean, every now and then there comes a time where coaches get old, even players, but coaches as well. They get too old and they just lose their touch. Look at Dick LeBeau last year when he was with Tennessee. Legendary defensive coordinator. He got too old. He lost his touch. It happens. I'm sorry. I love Romeo Crennel, but he gotta go, man. This defense has been suspect all season. It's just been masked by playing the Brock Osweilers, the Josh Allens of the world. Next year, our schedule is brutal. We play a lot of good quarterbacks, so if Romeo Crennel's still around, you can expect a lot of games like today to go down. It sucks. He's a legendary coach. You hate to let him go, but it's for the good of the team. As far as the season goes, it's not over. It's not. Stop saying it's over. I've seen some people already say, man, it's over. This team don't deserve to go to the playoffs. Man, come on. We had a chance to win. We just blew it. It's not like we freaking got blown out. We haven't been blown out all year, As long as number 4 is under center, dude, anything can happen. It's important. Get into the playoffs. Let Deshaun Watson get some playoff experience. That's important. Next year, yes, and I'm already talking about next year, we got to get some corners and some better offensive tackles, and hopefully Lamar Miller can keep playing how he was playing before he went down. Or, hopefully we get a better running back. So, yeah. This is what it is. Anyways, that's all I have for you guys for today. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And let's hope for a win next week. Peace.